Go ahead and start, Stan.
And welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me is my partner, Ross Grimsley. Ross, how are you, my friend?
Stan, doing really well, buddy. Really well.
All right, good. I know you picked nothing but winners yesterday.
Let's not get started on that.
And just after I do my live read that everybody is waiting for on the Costas Inn, we're going to be joined by one of our favorite Orioles, a really good friend of Ross Grimsley, the one and only Ken Singleton. But before we get words from Ken Singleton, words of wisdom, let me tell you about the Costas Inn. Located over there, as everybody knows, 4100 North Point Boulevard. The great thing about the Costas Inn is during the pandemic, they really upped their curbside / takeout business. You can order everything you want online. Just go to CostasInn.com. You can pay for it online. And no, you can't eat it online. But when you drive out to the Costas Inn to pick it up, you don't even have to get out of your car. The Costas Inn, the best place in Baltimore for crabs, crab cakes, crab soup. We love the Costas Inn. And again, 410-477-1975 is the phone number for the one and only Costas Inn. Joining me now is Ken Singleton to talk some baseball with us. And Kenny, we always appreciate your words of wisdom. And it's good to see you. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty well. Actually, I'm down here in Florida, and it's pretty nice down here, Stan. I will be heading back to Maryland pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to getting back home until it gets too cold. Then I'll be back down here.
Were you out of harm's way during the hurricane?
Actually, during the hurricane, I was in Maryland, so okay. It was kind of headed directly for us, and as it eventually turned to the south, I feel badly for the people down in Fort Myers area and Sanibel Island. I've been to Sanibel. It was a beautiful place.
Yep.
And it's just decimated, but we were okay. Nothing major here, and we were quite fortunate.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that about your family specifically. Let's turn to baseball. These initial playoff series, are we in agreement we all like this better than a one-game play-in, a one-game play-in in the first round?
Well, personally, I think it's a little more fair. It's a little more competitive to have a three-game series. And I don't mind the fact that one team's on the road at all times. I don't mind. I think the home teams definitely with the better record, they've earned it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting enough that three of the road teams won. So
I love that. I love that.
That's just baseball. If you don't have it together, somebody's going to beat you.
Yeah.
Right.
What'd you think? What'd you make of the Mets? They were the only team that took the series to the 3 games. I feel so bad for Buck because of all the times for Max Scherzer to have probably his worst playoff performance of all time.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he didn't get the benefit of Max Scherzer extraordinaire. He got Max Scherzer, pedestrian Max Scherzer.
Yeah, it not only happened during the the wild card series, it happened in the last weekend when they played the Braves, and they got swept by the Braves and got knocked out of first place. That's why they were in the wild card series. I just think that the Mets were in first place 176 days, and the Braves are in first place for 8 days.
8 days,
yeah, and they won. So I give the Braves a lot of credit that they stuck with it. They got the job done.
It's nowhere near as much of a controversy as the old Zach Britton thing from about 6 years ago. But when you look at the way Scherzer was pitching, now over the course of the season, he had that long 6-8 weeks out with an injury, the oblique, but the way he pitched was terrific. But when you look at the way the season was winding down, do you think he made a mistake not starting DeGrom in game 1?
Well, DeGrom actually pitched better, and the Mets won that game.
Yeah.
But I think Scherzer, because of the fact that he's been around.
Yeah.
Yeah, the history, and he's been great in the playoffs in the past. but I think he kind of struggled down the stretch. I think Ross would agree with me. He
Yeah.
wasn't as DeGrom. So I might have flipped him at that point.
I read one thing before we bring Ross in to ask you a couple questions. Kenny, I don't know how close you observed them this year, the Mets, but apparently, and last night I went to Baseball Reference to look it up so I could cite it, and I couldn't get on baseball. They didn't have the splits. Apparently, Carrasco had pitched extremely well against the Padres, and I remember a day or two before that series started, the media person, I can't remember who it was on MLB, said he thought he should start Carrasco in game 3 rather than Bassett. I guess at the end of the day, it almost doesn't matter because of the way Musgrove did.
Well, Musgrove, no, he was unhittable. I mean, what he gave one stinky hit, that's all the Mets got. Yeah. I just think that you're right. Musgrove was a tough pitcher. And I think him being from San Diego, I think it was a real big deal for him. Even though they were in New York, I mean, he had a chance to close out a series, a win or go home game, and he wasn't going home. He wasn't ready yet. So and now what do they get? They get the Dodgers, who they've had problems with. Good luck
To them. Ross, go ahead, baby.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the Dodgers and the in San Diego, Dodgers have handled it pretty well all year. I think they're 5-14 on the season against them. But the playoffs, totally different thing. I mean, I think the Dodgers have got. The Dodgers have the all-around everything. San Diego, if they get their pitching and if they start swinging the bats like they're capable of doing, this could be an interesting series with them. And then you got Atlanta and Philadelphia. Philadelphia came from nowhere. But getting to the American League, the Yankees are playing Cleveland. Seattle's playing Houston. Now, what does the Yankees have to do to get to the series? Just to get what do they have to do to get the series? I mean, you got Cole hadn't been himself this year. He's still got some decent numbers, but and the hitting. I mean, if you shut Judge down and don't pitch to him, which will probably happen, they could have a difficulty here, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could. There's a lot of pressure on Stanton, I think. Stanton and Rizzo to Judge. If they start pitching around Judge, those guys have to come through. But one thing that the Yankees have, they played the Cleveland 6 times this year, and the Yankees won 5. Right. So I think they have that history working in their favor. Plus, they're going to be in Yankee Stadium, where they had a really good record this year. I think they won 57 games at home.
Yeah.
So they're tough at home. Garrett Cole, it's hard to make it. This guy can strike people. Like he led the league in strikeouts. Okay, but he also led the league in giving up home runs.
Yeah,
I just if he can keep the ball in the park, he's going to be tough. Another thing about Cole that a little unsettling with Yankee fans, when something seems to go wrong, he can't stop it. Somebody makes an error, and he gives up a hit, gives up a homer, and he gets discombobulated real quick.
Loses his composure. He loses his composure, which never seen before.
Right away. I always love the pitchers that when somebody made an error, they'd strike out the next guy. Just say, forget that error.
Right.
I remember I screwed up one night behind Mike Flanagan, and I came back and apologized to him in the dugout, and Flanagan said, just go out there and get me a few runs. So
okay.
Hey, I gotta follow up on his question. You were announcing full-time in 2021, right? You were doing a good chunk of games. So you got to see Cole before they took the spider tech away, the substance, and you've seen him since. Is that what's really the root cause of this? Is he's not gripping, he's not getting as much grip on the ball?
I think probably it's not only him. It's a lot of
pitchers. Yeah.
But I think
this is a pitcher this is a pitcher that was incredible for the last 4.5 years, and then last year's second half, and this year sort of a good chunk of the year.
Yeah, when he was with Houston, I think he set the club record for strikeouts, over 300. This year he struck out, what, 270, I think, something like that. I think maybe his spin rate and all that has come down some, but he has enough natural stuff. He can still blow it up there at 100 miles an hour. Then he's still got a good knuckle curveball. I just think that he's kind of proven to himself that he doesn't need that stuff. I think what happens to him is, and I think Ross would agree with me, that some pitchers think I'm throwing so hard they can't hit it, and they just throw it right in the middle of the plate. Oh, get paid to turn stuff around,
Yeah.
So hit it. If it's in the middle, and I just think he gets burned that way. If he has a bad game in game one against Cleveland, Yankee fans are going to go nuts, because I've seen on Twitter that a lot of fans think that Cortez should start game one, and because he's had a great year, better ERA than Cole. He's fun to watch, and he gets people out. And he's like I think Nestor said, if I wasn't pitching, I'd probably be driving a truck or something. So so that's the appeal he has to the everyday fan, that he's like one of them, but he's getting people out and had a great record this year.
You think pitching in New York and the way the media is and the fans, that's affected Cole?
Maybe, there's a lot of writers, a lot of TV, a lot of everything in New York.
You got to read about what you do every day.
Yeah, what Frank Sinatra say, it's the top of the heap, so that I just think that that's a possibility. If you pitch well, it's going to be praised, and if you don't, you could get hammered. So especially postseason here, because the Yankees have gotten to this point, they've had a good year. They won 99 games. They saw one of their players, Judge, have a historical year. Some of the guys had pretty good years. They came through a lot of injuries. They had a fantastic first half of the season, like they were going to win every game. And then all of a sudden, the injuries started to creep in. In August, they were terrible. They let the Rays come up from, I think, 15.5 back to 3.5 back before they stumbled down the stretch and fell back. And the Yankees were able to hold on. Good thing they had that cushion at the beginning of the year.
Right. Well, you got obviously the next team is Houston. Everybody knows about them. They're deep. They're outstanding in every facet of the game. But that leads to Cleveland and Seattle. What are your thoughts on? Well, we'll take Cleveland first because they're playing the Yankees.
I think Cleveland's a little tougher than people think. Everybody says they came from the weak Central Division. Number one, their hitters don't strike out. I think they're number one in contact, fewest strikeouts in the league. They put the ball in play. Jose Ramirez is a great player, a clutch player, tough out from both sides of the plate. Cleveland has pretty good speed on their team. The kid, Stephen Kwan in left field, had a great rookie year. I think their pitching staff is pretty strong. I think Quantrill's getting the start in the first game because they had to use their other pitchers just to get to this point.
Right.
So
they had that 15-inning game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the
no ghost runner.
Now you see why they do it. That game went over in the 10th or 11th inning.
Yeah.
But my point is that I think Cleveland's not going to be as easy as people think. I know the Yankees beat them 5 out of 6. But this is a whole different level. I mean, you've raised it up the intensity that much more. And
I think it was earlier in the season too that they beat them.
Yeah,
when they were hot.
I think the fans were wearing coats when they were,
Tell us, Ken, tell us a little bit about the back end of Cleveland's bullpen. It looked like Karinchak was almost his career might be over. He just lost it. He lost it. He had that mental breakdown. He's back at a high level. And tell us what makes Klaus so damn good.
Shaw is back too. He's coming back from injury. So there's another solid relief pitcher. Klaus, he just throws fire. It shows you how good he is. The American League chose him to close the All-Star game. All the good relievers in the American League, they chose him to close it. So I just think that the Yankees don't want to see him, or see as little of him as possible. Have the games in hand by the time it gets to the late innings.
That's a great point. If he pitches 4 games, it's a coin flip who's going to win the games.
And then another thing, Stan, the Yankee bullpen is hurting. They've
Right.
lost a lot of guys to injuries. Chapman decides he don't want to pitch anymore, so he's not coming. The Yankees said, thanks for how many years he was there, and you don't need to come from New York anymore. So
unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable story what happened with Chapman. He just basically balked at coming up to pitch live batting practice, which is what Aaron Boone wanted him to do.
Well, I think they didn't guarantee him a spot on the roster.
Right.
And he said, as good as he's been over the years, he said he should have a spot. He wasn't good this year. He was awful.
He was awful.
He was the base on balls waiting to happen. I've seen him walk the bases loaded, wild pitch. He doesn't throw quite as hard as he used to. Every once in a while, he'll hit 100, but it's not 102 and 103 like it used to be.
Right.
And he relies more on his breaking stuff now, slider and a splitter, and he just can't control it. So Yankee fans are getting tired of him. And plus, he's giving up big home runs in the postseason. So maybe the Yankees said, we're tired of seeing that too. So they said, stay home. He'll be pitching for somebody else next year.
Now they are due to get Matt Carpenter back. And the thought is that he's going to be their DH probably, which would put Stanton back in the outfield. Would Judge play center, or Judge would move to left with Bader? Because Bader really has solidified center field defensively for them.
Yeah, Bader's one of the better defensive center fielders in the game. But I think what you'll see is if Carpenter is not coming off the bench as a pinch hitter and he's in the lineup, and he was very effective for the Yankees this year, he's got to be the DH.
Yep.
So that means Stanton goes to right field, Judge goes to center. I don't know. Judge hasn't played left field all year.
Yeah,
he's been in center or right. So
and what does that do? What does that scenario do to Cabrera, who I was going to ask you about? He's like the wild card to me for the Yankees.
Yeah, he can play anywhere. That's the thing. He just started playing the outfield this year. He's basically an infield, second base, third. He can play a little shortstop. He can play first, and he's done a good job everywhere. I think that he gave some energy to the club when they called him up. Now
he's got bat speed that I don't see very often from a young. I mean, he's really got.
Yeah, it's sort of like he's the Yankees' Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, he can run a little bit too. Henderson's really good. I mean, he's going to be a good player. Yeah, he's really fast. But the fact is that the other kid, Peraza, is pretty good too. He's hit well over 300 in the limited time he's been in the big leagues. But the Yankees have been going with Kiner Falefa at shortstop. He's been the shortstop primarily for the whole year. But once again, the fans in New York, they want to see more Peraza. They want him. But I don't know if the Yankees might go with more of a veteran presence at shortstop during this series.
Ross, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, see, they have, we know the Yankees, we know Cleveland, a little bit about Seattle. I know playing Houston. Houston's got the 3 big starters, and they got the 2 other, Garcia, Javier, they can throw in 4th and 5th. Pitching wise, they're, it looks like it will be Houston for sure. Tell us a little bit about Seattle. What are your thoughts about them?
Yeah, I've been watching them. My good friend Dave Sims is their TV broadcaster, and they've, at the beginning of the year, I picked them to win the division. I should have picked them to make the playoffs instead. That's what I should have picked them. I would have won something that way. But I think they had a good club. They just missed the playoffs last year. So I've always felt that clubs that just missed, the next year they're a little bit tougher. And they did make the playoffs this year. During the trade deadline, Cincinnati put Luis Castillo up, for trade. the Yankees tried like gangbusters to get him. They wanted him, and instead he went to Seattle. I guess the Cincinnati felt there was a better package of players going their way from Seattle than from the Yankees. The Yankees wouldn't give up their number one guy, Volpe.
Right.
Volpe, he's a good player in the minors, and they wouldn't give him up. So Seattle went somewhere else. They got Castillo, and he's been pretty darn good for them. Hopefully he beat the Yankees twice, once with Cincinnati and once with Seattle last year during this season. And I just think that he's going to be a mainstay in this series. Seattle has pretty good starters, and their closer Seawald is pretty good too. You don't get this far without being pretty good. So I think Seattle, I don't know how much of Houston they can stand. Houston's they've got everything. They've got hitters, they've got defense, they can pitch, they've got a bullpen. They got Dusty Baker, who seems to get the best out of everybody. One thing I will say, if Houston gets past Seattle and the Yankees get past Cleveland, the Yankees had a tough time with Houston for the last few years.
Yep.
Houston's knocked them out each time. And I just think that that's like the Yankees' kryptonite. They got to hope that Seattle has a really good series and takes out Cleveland. And I don't see that happening though.
Yeah, but Cleveland's going to be could be a problem for the Yankees as well.
Yeah, they can. I put doubt in my mind. I just think that when you got Tito Francona, Terry Francona managing a team,
Right.
I don't know what he doing, but he gets them pumped up and he gets them ready to play. And he's going to tell them, forget the regular season. These guys beat you 5 out of 6. It's a whole new ball game now.
Yeah,
So, he's a maestro as far as manager goes. No question about it.
He knows how to handle his bullpen. He seems to know who to put in the lineup every single day.
Yeah.
You might think this guy's going to play, somebody else plays, and when he puts them in there, you say, why is he putting them in there for? And the guy gets 2 or 3 hits. He seems to know something. And this is my favorite time of the baseball season. When you get to the World Series, it's kind of anticlimactic. You got the 2 best teams, but up to now, we don't know who the 2 best teams are.
right.
And that's why, to me, this is almost more fun.
Yeah.
Kenny, the other thing with Cleveland is if push comes to shove and you got to win one game, Bieber is as good as anybody. I mean, when he's on,
Yeah, he's good. He's got one of the best curveballs in the game. But I think the Yankees handled him this year. I think one of the wild cards for the Yankees, and one of the things that's really going to help them, Severino's back.
Yeah,
Right.
And he looks really good. He's been throwing 98, 99, 100. They took him out when he was throwing a no-hitter the other day.
Yeah.
Just save him. And he was throwing fire that day, and his slider was like unhittable. I think he's pitching game 3 for the Yankees, and that might be, all the games are big. But game 3, I always feel, you get 1 and 2. If you split them, game 3 is really big. So you got to have something really good going for you.
let's kind of wrap it up in asking you. So Cleveland and the Yankees, who you picking?
Cleveland, the Yankees, I'm picking the Yankees. I think that if Judge has a good series and he's had a great year, if you can get up in situations where they can't pitch around him,
that's the key to the whole thing.
Yeah. Or if Rizzo and Stanton are swinging the bat well, or even Donaldson, although I don't think he's as effective a hitter as he used to be, but he's a veteran. He knows how to hit the ball the other way. I think the Yankees will win this series. I think Houston will take Seattle pretty easy.
Right.
All right, National League.
The National League. Ooh. You got the Phillies and the Braves. I think the Phillies had some momentum going into the series, but the Braves have the pitchers. The Phillies have Wheeler and Nola,
and then
And
nothing
that's
else. And it's a
those guys are good. Their bullpen isn't as good as
Right.
Atlanta. Atlanta seems to come up with these pitchers. And one thing the Braves have done, you see, they signed the young kid Strider
Today. Yeah. Yeah.
To a long-term contract. I
6,
looked at their
7
roster.
year contract. Yep.
Yeah, all these guys, young guys, are signed to long-term deals.
Yep.
And that's something the Orioles should do too, to be honest with you, with a couple of their guys. But and as far as the other series is concerned, you got the Dodgers. I can't go against them. They won 100 games. I just can't go against the Dodgers. I don't think any. I think the Dodgers are going to the World Series.
I do too.
Right.
I do too. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you the $64,000 question. I've always appreciated the job Brian Cashman has done in New York. I mean, he's been there. Just surviving the boss as long as he did was amazing. Did he make biggest miscalculation of all time in what he offered Judge? And I'm not talking just on because of Judge's injuries. I understand the reluctance to go to 340 or 350. I think he's open. I think he's opened the window for Stephen Cohn to say, "Damn it, we got to be better than the Yankees. Get me that guy."
It's a good point because he mentioned Judge's injuries, but he hasn't been injured the last couple of years. He's played. He played 155 games this year.
Yep.
And I do think if Judge hits the market, and he will, he's going out there, somebody will offer more money than the Yankees.
Yeah.
So I think that it's up to the Yankees to match it or structure the deal that it's more beneficial. The dollars are maximized. So I think Judge would like to stay with the Yankees. Who wouldn't? I mean, it's an organization, and he could be one of the franchise's all-time great players. But they're going to have to be paying him.
He's going to get close to 400. He's going to get close to $400 million before this is all said and done.
You know what? That's pocket change for Steve Cohen. You're right.
Yeah,
So I just some team, whether it's the Mets or the Giants or the Dodgers, there's only about 4 or 5 teams could get in on this.
Right. Right.
So I just think that Judge is in the driver's seat after having a historical season. I mean, if he hits 45 home runs next year, people are going to say, "Wow, he just wasn't as good."
Yeah, really.
One of the little bits of leverage a team has is when they negotiate with a player, they could give Aaron Judge the rights to use the Yankee uniform in commercials. The Orioles explored that with Cal Ripken, and I think the Red Sox were exploring it with Alex Rodriguez when they were trying to acquire him. But the union steps in and says, "No, we want you to make more salary." But that Yankee uniform on him in commercials could be very valuable.
That is big. I think another thing is there's a couple of things working with Judge. He's a California kid. He's from Northern California. I have a feeling the Giants are going to get in on it.
They got the money.
They've got the money too.
Oh, they do.
I don't think his game plays well in that ballpark, though. He hits home runs, and right center is no man's land at Oracle Park. He'd have to be almost strictly a pull hitter to hit a lot of home runs there. Although he's a strong kid, Yankee Stadium's perfect. When he just misses, it goes out in right center.
Yeah.
And when is a left field. I mean, you saw the Orioles move the fence back in Baltimore.
Yeah,
they could have moved that fence back to Pratt Street. He still would have reached it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, give me one scenario before we let you go. Cashman and Boone, they're both back next year, no matter how this plays out.
Hal Steinbrenner does not seem to have the quick trigger that his dad did, George.
Yeah.
I think Cashman's been around a long time. If the Yankees get bounced in the first round here, there might be some more heat on them. But Cashman's been around 20, as long as I was with the Yankees, 25 years. And Boone is his guy. So I don't, you got to remember the Yankees won 99 games this year. Boone's won 100 games 3 times. So, and he missed this year by 1.
Yep.
So I think they're pretty much safe. I think what they would do is they would go out, and the Yankees, first of all, keep Judge. Number two, maybe get another. They're going to have to get another bullpen guy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be something? Got Diaz from the Mets.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Two can play at that. Two can play at that game. Yeah.
Make a good bid for Judge. We're going to get your guy. Yeah. So
right.
It's going to be an interesting offseason throughout baseball, to be honest with
One last question for you, Kenny. You did the Yankees a number of years. You know Derek Jeter. You got to know him pretty well, don't you?
you.
Is there a job there with Hal Steinbrenner? And could that job be Cashman's job?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Okay. You don't think he wants to work that hard?
I think, Jeter's got 3 young girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to spend a lot of time on the phone. You have to, people calling you at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think he'd want to do that. He might take another job within the organization, but I don't think he and Cashman get along that well. So
no, it came across in the series, the captain, that he was pissed at Cashman for going public with that offer that time. And
you know what?
I don't think they've ever made up from that, really.
They did the same thing with Judge this spring.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Judge and his agent remember that.
Yeah.
I think one thing that if they do re-sign Judge, one of the things they could offer him, you can become the Yankee captain. And, you look at the line of Yankee captains, like Mattingly and Willie Randolph and Thurman Munson, and I think Bill Dickey. I'm not sure going back that far.
Yeah, I think
but
it's
anyway,
Dickey. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back that far, that's big to be the Yankee captain. So if they offer that to him, I don't think any other team would offer that. So I just think that's another little plum that he could have if he signed with the Yankees.
Ross, you got one last one for him?
No,
I said 3 times I had my last one.
You had your last one.
Yeah.
Say, when you coming back?
I think coming back down to Florida at the end of the month, at least that's the plan for now. At the end of October, we'll probably stay until Thanksgiving, then head back north, with the family and grandkids for Christmas, and then come down to Florida and stay as long as we want.
I hear you. Okay. Well, I'll see you when you get back. I'll see you in Houston.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We're going to Houston together.
That's 10
goodness.
days, buddy. 10 days, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Should be fun.
What are you guys doing in Houston?
Well, we just
are you allowed
playing
to mention it? Are you allowed to mention it?
Yeah, we just finished playing in David Wells's golf tournament up at Innisbrook in Palm Harbor. It's about 30 minutes north of me and about an hour and a half north of Ross. And,
fantastic. Yeah,
it was really good. He put on a great tournament. And now we're supposedly, this is the first time we're going to play in this one, but this one's in Houston. Do you remember the hockey player Pete Mahavlich?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Montreal playing for the Expos, I became friendly with him, and I saw him this winter. I went up to Montreal for an event, and he told me about this golf tournament in Houston, and it's supposed to be at a beautiful course and beautiful setting. We stay at a great place, and I asked him, "Can I bring some guys with me?" And he said, "Sure." So I said, "How about Ross?" He said, "Oh, let me think about it."
yeah. I sent him $1,000. He said, "Okay, he can come."
Hey, Kenny, I'm old enough to remember his dad, Frank Mahavlich.
That was his brother.
No, I think it was his dad, wasn't it? Frank?
It was his brother.
Oh, it was his older brother. It was his older brother.
Yeah, they played together in Montreal.
Pete
Frank
Mahavlich. He is one of my favorite hockey players of all time. I loved him.
Over 500 goals.
Yeah, he was.
Anyway, so Ross is going with me and Mike Torres. We're going to Houston to play in this tournament. I guess there's going to be a bunch of hockey players and a lot of celebrities there.
All right, that sounds great. Hey, we won't bother you again until spring training starts. All right, fair enough.
I love talking to you guys.
All right, great to talk
Thanks,
to you. Bye, Siggy.
Take care, guys.
All
Be
right.
safe.
All right. That does wrap us up for this Monday night. We'll talk about Ross and I will get together with who we're going to have next Monday night as these playoffs really start to heat up. I'll be on Wednesday night with a guest again involved with the big 5-star event, the Maryland 5-star event comes up this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up in Cecil County at Fair Hills. It's a great, great event, especially Saturday is the day to go where they do the cross country. So really special. Only 7 of these in the whole world, and Maryland is fortunate enough to have one its second year. We thank the Costas for bringing us on the air, and for Ken Singleton, our guest, and Ross Grimsley, my partner. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and we'll get back to you next few days. Talk to you. Bye. Bye, Ross.
Bye, Stan. Take it easy, buddy.